And one. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Vocational Podcast. This is episode 11, and today I have the creative, the amazing, the multi talented, my personal spiritual music animal. Oh, no, sorry. Musical spiritual animal. Ife Oluwa. Olaoye Olutayo. Ife, how are you doing?
Life is great.
Life is
Uh,
great. You
all is
you
right
look
in the
so
world.
tired that you're like, life is great. There is no war in Basing say.
Yeah, Lagos is Lagosing, I guess. But it's great. It's great. It's great to be here. I'm happy to be here. Really, really, also lovely. Because this doubles as a catching up session for me.
It does. It does for me as well. So if people hear anything you didn't hear it.
Yeah.
So yeah, you were just seeing me just before like we started recording that you just came back from like a retreat. So tell us about that. Tell us about your week so far. Because today is Sunday. And
uh,
I can tell you about my week so far. I'm deathly tired and I still have a lot of work to do. So please.
this week, this week was interesting because I started the week with a project. So like a friend reached out and mentioned that her cousin was looking for someone to produce a short film. Like she was
Ooh,
coming from the US.
nice.
So I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, do you know how many producers do I know? And then I don't know if I saw the project before, but I think it was after. I was just like, wait, why can't I just do this? Like, it's fine. I'll do this myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I told her, like, I'll produce. And then she put me in contact with the person. So we started shooting on Monday. It was meant to be a 4 day shoot.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really hoping it wouldn't be the week of retreat, but here we are. So um, I shot Mon- Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
I was lucky enough that Buhari died, so I had Tuesday off. Uh, just he never did anything for us here, but he gave me that one. It was normally
Dig
enough. Um,
it.
but it was Monday, Tuesday, then Wednesday I kind of just called in sick. And I shot because my lovely people are Mavin, please. I was actually sick. Just a disclaimer. Uh, but then Thursday was retreat day, so I couldn't go. My friend Jeremy came in,
Mhm.
um, and the day went fine without a hitch because yeah, it's Jeremy. I'm happy about that. And then I was at the retreat, went to Lakwe Resort, Lake Golf something. I couldn't enjoy it because of once again, it's kind of linked to the exhibition I was talking about before, the sand
Yeah.
mining one, where you
Mm-hmm.
kind of think about all of that expansion, Eco Atlantic, Lakwe, where I went there and you could still see them actively working, and you could see sandbags, and it's all coming from there. Sand is not an infinite resource. It's something
Yeah.
that's very,
No,
very interesting. It's
no.
very finite. But
You
people
have to
seem to
dredge it
think it's
from the
infinite.
sea.
They think it's infinite. So it's like all of that protection, that flood protection is being lost. And you don't even need to look too far. Like the rains got just a tiny bit serious in Lagos over the last month, and Lekki
See.
was looking like a small kid safe pool. It's very, 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 very scary. But I went for the retreat. I did try as much as possible on the first night to kind of loosen up. So
Mhm.
I tried.
Don't
And
mind
then
my
we came back on
asking.
Friday.
What was the retreat about? Like, what was the goal in mind for the members of
Oh,
staff for the retreat?
so it's like it's an annual program where like it's an annual retreat where we kind of just meant to kind of just sit back and kind of consider our ways forward for the next half of the year. Like you've
Mm-hmm.
had H1, you have a retreat, you think about, oh, what exactly is going on or what exactly happened in this first half of the year, and how can we, in a sense, make it better. Um, and so the questions, because we had like this hackathon thing, so they put us into groups. So for the last 3 4 weeks, we've actually been working on our hackathon presentation. And when you get to the retreat, it's one of the first programs you do. So you guys present. So the topics are very Maven specific. usually considering a lot of the um, systems that we work with and trying to make them more efficient. So the hackathon doesn't just exist in a vacuum; it exists in ways that when we come back to present, it's very actionable. So like it's stuff
Good.
that can be implemented, right?
Nice.
So but it's also like a competition type of thing. So people actually win money. My group came
Ah,
fourth. Um,
oh, so no money for you.
no, there's money for me. It's just not as
Ah,
much as people.
but
Yeah, everybody had money.
don't they used to give money to first, second, third?
No, that one is their own business. Not here. Not at Mavins. Everybody's a winner. Uh,
Everybody is a winner.
yeah,
Participation trophy.
participation trophy. Because like the money we won when you split it because it's 13 per group. So the money we
Mm.
won is literally half of the split for the first.
Oh,
Do you get? So
I
first people get when you split their money, they get
see.
double what I will get when we split our money.
Your money.
Do you get?
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
it's tiered. You get it's tiered.
I
And in
see.
fifth and sixth get exactly the same. So that one was their business. Um, and by the way, this was even
Girl.
because we had like a color theme, so they gave us bandanas. So my group was green. They called us the
Green.
money team. Yeah. So,
Money team that came fourth.
but we still got money, money,
Okay,
money, money.
fine. Fine.
Um,
It's about the mood and no problem. So
no
my
problem.
weekend, I so in the KW area, so the Kitchener Waterloo area, they have this yearly festival called Afro Vibes. So it consists of, I think, like, I think four events. So the first event is like a karaoke event, and three of those events are like non-paid, open to general public. The first one is like a karaoke event that's just done in like is is done in the Waterloo Public Square. So like it's just like an
Okay.
open space in front of a mall, and people come there, dance and sing. And then the
Okay.
second event is like a panel session. So Afro Vibes panel session. So we got to sit and listen to and network with creatives, founders, black black founders, African founders from different walks of life. They were physiotherapists, they were
Okay.
tech business, startup CEOs and founders. They were creatives like there was this one particular person, he does like customer tech. So like reviews the new products for companies like Apple, Microsoft.
Is
So
it
like their
Tayo?
phones, no, it isn't Fisayo, their phones, their laptops, stuff like that. But creatives in their own respect. So that was very fun. I had a good time networking and obviously looking for guests for my podcast. That was
Yeah.
interesting. And then there was the festival itself, the Afro Vibes Festival, where like everybody in the Kitchener Waterloo area, there were people that from out of town like myself. I came from Guelph. Then there were people from like Georgetown, just like Africans and black people coming together, and it was fun. And also Amadi performed. I should post that video at some point.
Ah.
And
Ah. So that's where he is.
yeah, me too. I'll be looking for him too. And
Yeah.
then there was the after party, which I came back this morning by 3 a.m., 3 or 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So like, Ife and I were supposed to record much earlier than this, but I could not wake up. I just
Yeah.
couldn't. It is
I don't
well.
understand it. Yeah,
It is
it's
well.
really funny. First night of retreats, people also attempted to do that thing because, like, the
Yeah.
next morning, I meant to kind of get up for pictures and all of that with like
Mhm.
the larger team, and you spend like a significant amount seeing people chasing Don Jazzy down for pictures.
Ah,
But yeah, because it's at the retreat now, so it's a full
but
like everybody's there.
don't they see him every day? They are people are working with
They
him.
don't.
Oh, they don't.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Um, but
Okay.
yeah, like I go back to my room on the first night like one, because like there were competitions like dancing and a lot of other things.
Wahala.
Um, people also want money for that. Um, but like some people went back for an after party till like 3:30 a.m. I was like, why are you doing that to yourself? And then
I
you're going
mean,
to be awake by 8 a.m. to like
oh,
eat
8 a.m. Oh
breakfast.
no, that's crazy.
Nah,
If I have to
I
stop
was
that, there's no partying for me.
I was up by like 7 because I didn't know. I woke up earlier because I wanted to kind of prepare and also like pack my stuff.
Mm.
Also pack my stuff. So I don't know, man. But good on everybody.
Good on everybody. Well,
Good.
let's get right into the quick fire questions. So, Ife, I know you and the world knows you as a multifaceted creative. So you do film production, you write, you're like into the music business as well. So these quick fire questions are going to be centered around that. So first and foremost, what movie trope? Oh, he also does movie reviews. Did I mention that? You should follow him on Letterboxd. What's a movie trope that you always be a little bit shy to admit that you love?
Damn. Hmm. Oh. Well, to be fair, right? This is very very funny because like I
Mm-hmm.
had this conversation with somebody over the last like a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I like the boombox in the rain in romantic films.
Oh God.
Yeah, yeah, so it's not necessarily only boombox in the rain, but anything that feels like that. So the airport, chasing to the airport,
But
so
oh,
stuff like that, stuff that requires you to monologue. I love a good
uh,
monologue. I love a
yeah,
good
yeah.
monologue. So
Oh,
even if the film isn't great, if it has like one or two good monologues that I'm like, he's spitting. Like you have me.
like those big romantic.
Yeah,
I'm going up this hill to save my marriage. I don't know if you know that reference from
I know,
Why Did I Get Married? It's
I know
from
that
Why
one, I
Did
know
I
that
Get Married by Tyler Perry. And like there was this lady, she was driving up a mountain in the snow. I'm going up
one.
this hill to save my marriage.
Yeah. I
And
literally, it's one of the reasons why I really like. Okay, so I love the Notebook. Uh,
mm,
I, I really love the Notebook, and it has a couple of them like that. It has at the midpoint where it takes a turn for the worse, but it also has at the end, I think, or towards the end, or when they first reconnect, when he's in the rain and he's telling her that he looked for her for a year. He sent her
mm.
letters for a year, every day for a year, or something like that. And the reason why I really like that film is also because it's based on real life. So, the filmmaker Nick Cassavetes, his father was John Cassavetes. So Cassavetes is known as basically the father of independent American cinema. Not necessarily the father, but like he's one of those figures. He's like one of the greatest. When people think about indie cinema in America, they
Mm-hmm.
mention Cassavetes. Now, Cassavetes was married to Jenna Rowland, who plays the old woman with dementia in the film.
In the
So,
notebook.
like Nick's mother plays
Mm-hmm.
the woman the old guy reads to.
Oh.
Yes, Jenna. She was one of the faces of Hollywood. Like, she was in so much at that point in time, and the film is somewhat based on their on his parents' love.
Oh,
I thought that was really
that's
nice.
I did not know that. That's like extremely cute. So,
Yeah,
like I mentioned before, you write movie reviews. So between
yeah.
the big two, IMDb and Letterboxd, what reviews do you trust more?
Okay. Well, there's like Letterbox is not like a big tool. Like man. So with Letterbox, right? There was a time
Mm-hmm.
actually where you go to Letterbox and you'd see a lot of people writing very detailed reviews, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the kind of thing where you would click on a film and you could kind of see all of these perspectives, and it was really interesting to see because like it was detailed, all of that, right? With
Mm-hmm.
IMDb, I don't think I usually go to IMDb to read reviews. Like you could get information about the film on IMDb.
The
The one that
ratings out of 10.
you have like directing the credits. You see sometimes you see
Mm-hmm.
locations, who produces. You might see
Mm-hmm.
someone's entire. You'll be able to see like the what the person has also worked on. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you're looking for a specific maybe character or actor or cinematographer, that's great. But Rotten Tomatoes is like the one that is really
Yeah.
popular,
Yeah. Rotten Tomatoes
and
is popular.
yeah, and it's a review aggregator. When I want to look at reviews, I usually like to read directly from publications,
Okay.
and there are a bunch of them. So you can read like from the New York Times or Vulture or no, Complex is music, mostly. You can read from a bunch of places. The Guardian is a very
Yeah.
good one. So there are a bunch of places like that that do reviews.
Mm-hmm.
But I also still go back to Letterboxd. Sometimes you find that some of the film critics, like for example David Ehrlich from IndieWire, he
Mm-hmm.
would put a portion of his entire film review in Letterboxd and link IndieWire. So you click on that
Oh.
and then go to their site. Yeah. So a couple of them
Oh.
have that kind of relationship with Letterboxd where they also use it like social media, where like
So
they
they use it
also
like a landing page of sorts.
of sorts. So they also do like small reviews the way we do it, but then
Mm-hmm.
there's also especially when it's work that they are doing specifically for their platform, they also
Mm-hmm.
bring it to Letterbox and link it. So there are a bunch of guys. There's a guy that follows me also who does really detailed reviews. Um, so I would say that on that end, if you are talking about those two specifically, it's more
Mm-hmm.
likely to be Letterbox. These days, because of how popular it's gotten, a lot of people come up there and say meaningless things. There's a review that's called it's so upsetting. Um, it was like they do this thing where it's like one line, so they're always
Mm-hmm.
trying to be smart. They want to be seen as oh, they want to have
Thought does.
funny one-liners. So they go like
Mm. Mm.
the trope is um old nostalgic film for people who like this. So so it's
Oh,
like it's like for example, you're
like
talking about
exceptionalism, kind of like trying to be niche.
so yeah, it's not even about being niche. Sometimes it's just about being annoying and not knowing what they're talking about. There was one that was really meaningless. It was something about it was a film and they were like this is The Lobster, which is a Yorgos Lanthimos film.
I
The
have watched
Lobster
The
for
Lobster. Scared me.
those who love 19th century furniture or something. I'm just spitballing here, but like it's something where it's now meaningless. First of all, the films are not connected, and then what they are saying, the people love,
What does
is
furniture have to
such.
do with The Lobster?
I have no idea. I know it wasn't furniture. I don't want to actually. I need to look for this review. It's actually pissing me off now.
Okay.
But you
Let's
can
just
keep
like
talking.
yeah. So uh obviously we've already spoken about how you're very much into like films and movie reviews and writing.
Yeah.
Now, something that you guys may not know is that he first studied engineering for the better part of of his teenage years and 20s
Yes.
so far. Right. So my question to you is, as a Nigerian, as an African child,
Yeah.
how was the process convincing yourself and convincing your loved ones that to come to terms with the fact that you are not going to use this engineering degree that you've worked so hard for?
Okay. So I found the review.
Okay.
And so the film is The Lobster, and it
Mhm.
says the Grand Budapest Hotel for people who listen to Mitski.
What?
Exactly.
The
The review
Grand Budapest Hotel had nothing
is
to like.
nothing
It's
like The
not even
Lobster,
like synonymous with lobster in any way. Maybe
and
the
then
only
Mitski
common
is in
ground
there.
is hotel.
Yeah,
That's the only
exactly,
common ground.
exactly. Like it's exactly, and it's not even that the hotel. Like it's a different kind of hotel for The Lobster. But by the way,
Yeah.
I think I'll just come back. Sha, this is the kind of silly shit you see on Letterboxd these days. One-liners, on funny one-liners. Um, but yeah, back to it. So
Yeah.
with coming to terms with it, So I'll be honest here, and I may share a bit because
That's
it's
okay.
something that
Feel free.
uh I never necessarily had a conversation with my mom before she passed. Right? She knew that I was doing this, but for her, it was like you can work a job and do this. So it wasn't like for her, it was not, oh, you're going to abandon your engineering degree, right? It
Mm,
was you do this for a while, do your engineering, support
mm-hmm,
yourself, and then
mm-hmm,
when you feel like you're stable, you can then decide you want to do this full time. So that was the conversation we had for her, and that was the person that I felt I had more connection to, because like my dad, Abuja, all of that, right? In the aftermath of her death was when I had that conversation with my father. So that was last year June. So it wasn't long ago. I had been out of school for 2 years, right? But
mm-hmm,
you have to do service. Service takes a year,
mm-hmm,
and then at that point where service ended in November, I had stayed on working at the Ministry of Housing here in Lagos.
mm-hmm,
Um, so like it was not the kind of thing where anybody felt like there was a changing career for me.
mm-hmm,
So, but the job wasn't. I didn't come through. My dad was trying to figure it out. It was all that.
mm-hmm.
Convincing myself happened years before that. I think I already knew what I wanted to do as far back as 2018, 2019.
Oh,
Because it was the kind of thing where, yeah, it's been a serious minute. But
you know.
it's kind of figuring out how to go about it. Because even all of the planning I had done in my head when I was in my final year in uni, right? By the time I came out to make that first film in September 2022, it was not the same, right?
Yeah.
But
By
like
it,
it
do you
was,
mean like the markets for like film production, or like just like Nollywood in general?
I think it was there was definitely the industry, but like I'm indie, so the industry doesn't necessarily have so much of an effect on what I do,
Mm-hmm.
or what I was doing at that point. It was
Mm-hmm.
bootstrapping money from my pocket and my uncle, right? That we used to make that first film. I made it for like 30 grand 3 years ago, because like
Mm-hmm.
we got equipment from my friend at that point in time, um, and we got like a pre-apartment, because at that point in time, Tyranny's friend had an apartment on the same road at Dami's house. Dami,
Oh,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so we literally walked to our set. I think
I
the name
remember
of place was
then. I
Mandiba
recall.
or something like that.
Yeah.
But like for me, getting to the point where I knew I was not going to use my degree, it was a long time coming. 300 level, I was going
That's
through
third
school
year of
years.
uni. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, third year of uni. I was going through school years, but in my head, right? I was experiencing this new world of film. I was seeing a lot more, and I think there was a lot of curiosity early on for me. 2017, 2018. I used to
Mm-hmm.
seek out music, seek out films, and I would see these films, and I would feel so connected to the worlds that were being created. And I
Mm-hmm.
think for a long time, even as far back as maybe my primary school days, there was always a fixture in my head that I was going to create. I just didn't know what medium it was going to be in.
Then,
So it was the kind of thing where you finally find the medium that kind of clicks with you,
takes for you.
and then you're like, this could be it.
That's actually very interesting for you to mention, because I I noticed that your your film diary on social media, Instagram in particular, is called Ife Talks About Art. So it doesn't say Ife Talks About films, doesn't say music, it doesn't say. So I always wondered, like, are you have you settled within yourself to like always dip your feet into like whatever arts medium catches your attention at the time, or are you settled yet? Like, have you decided, is it film production, I'm only talking about film, or is it music?
Well, so the thing about that is it's always been shifted. When I started writing articles, culture, when I started covering culture in Lagos,
Mm-hmm.
um, how it came about was okay. Some of my first writing was film. I covered the Sorry 16 Film Festival in 2023, and I was looking for where to put it up. Because as a writer, one thing I noticed post making my first film was that when I pitched or applied for stuff, what didn't give me a lot of the edge was the fact that I was not published. So it was an actual thing. So I was looking for where to publish. And I covered the film festival for Get On Really, which is
Mm-hmm.
run by Neyo Kewe and Toby Efunawo, incidentally,
Mm-hmm.
who went to Covenant University, both of them.
Oh.
But Nii is older. Nii is a big
Mm-hmm.
fixture in the art scene in Lagos. One of the best designers you can ever work with. And when I mean design, I mean across all kinds of design. And I did my first this thing there. I think I covered S16 and I put my review of Mami Water. Mami Water had come out that year and I had gotten
Love
the
my
commission
water.
from Statement Africa, but they had killed the review. I don't know why. But I took it to Get On Really and I published it there for free. And I was going to be like their film writer. But then 49th Street happened in March of 2024,
Mm-hmm.
where I went for the 234 Art Fair
Mm-hmm.
inaugural edition, and I spoke with about six artists, and I wrote art. I did art writing for the first time, and I was looking for a way to publish it. And my friend Remy, who wrote film for the 49th Street, said I should send this to the editor Zia, and I did, and that was how I started writing art criticism for the 49th. And
Yeah.
for the 49th, I also wrote music. I listened to, so it's always been like a spontaneous thing because the only music review I have for the 49th Street is very funny because like the only time I'd written music, anything music review of sort, was during COVID. When
Yes.
in September of COVID, where like three albums I liked came out on the same day, and I did something on IG. I was posting a lot during
Albums
that COVID,
were those?
but
What
um,
albums were those? Do you remember?
uh it was so that was the first MGK had stopped rapping and he had
Mm-hmm.
done like his first rock album, which was very
Mm-hmm.
weird for me because like how? And I listened to it, I was like, oh, this is pretty decent. And then the Spillage Village guys, so Ed Gang, JID Meraba, those Dreamville guys,
Oh.
had done an album in 2020, and
Mm-hmm.
Action Bronson had released on the same day. That was service internship year. So like I listened to those albums as I was working manufacturing. I remember. So I did two reviews. I think they are still in my archive on IG. But yeah, coming back to the question, um, after that review stuff in 2020, I wrote a review for Rema's Ease. This was 2 months before I got hired, by the way. So I wrote a review for Rema's Ease because I listened to it the first time, and this is because I was like, what? How? And I asked my editor, is anybody writing a review for the album? And they're like, oh, they went for the release party, but like she's working on something else. I can work on that. I was like, okay, no problem. So I wrote that in like 45 minutes and I sent it through. And it was funny because that was one of the things we discussed in my interview. It was very interesting. Coming back to it, uh, it is why it is Ife talks about art is because I wanted to move all of the stuff I did during COVID. Because like when during COVID, I was posting music, I was posting dance, I was posting art, I was
Writing
posting,
screens
I was
as well,
writing things
like
exact. I
just
was
and it
writing,
plays.
and I wanted it to have a place, right? So it was not necessarily focused on film production, right? I want to make films. I will make films, but I've always been curious about the other facets of art, right? Film is art, music is art, um, visual art is art, right? The
Mm-hmm.
painters, the sculptures, digital art is art. I I just wanted a place where I could explore that.
That's so interesting, and I thank you for explaining it so in depthly because I think whenever I think about the work that you do, I can never really categorize it as just one thing. I can't ever say, okay, Ife is a film producer. I can't say,
Yeah.
oh, Ife is a writer. Like you are a multifaceted creative, and it makes 100% sense that it is named Ife Talks about art, like in its generality. So you've mentioned that you've been in a number of interviews just surrounding your writing in particular, and I'm going to guess you've also like pitched your film ideas to different people, um, like to generate revenue and like just capital for all of your creative endeavors. And could you take us through like a typical process, take us through a typical process pitching your movie idea? Because something that I realized, especially like in the Nigerian scene, is there's a lot of young creatives. They have the
Yeah.
idea, they have the creativity. In fact, they've mapped it out in their head, but they
Yeah.
don't know where to start. They don't know how to start. So if you
Yeah.
could please take us through, your process. I know some of it may just be providence, but um for the things that you
Yeah.
can't control, tell us about
Yeah.
it.
Okay, so we're pitching your idea. So one of the things that I tried to do early on, first of all, was to try as much as possible to control you as a filmmaker, as an indie filmmaker, you want a certain level of creative control. So earlier on, it was a lot of bootstrapping, but there are some times when you realize that the project is bigger than just you. Um, so usually it's like grant writing, right? Um, I rarely have elevator pitches, and that's an access thing, right? Sometimes the people who are funding the arts and the people who are the artists are never in the same room, and some people might tell you that that is, it's just the way things are. Some people will tell you it's the kind of thing where people are trying to kind of control who and who gets to be at the forefront of art movements, or just the forefront of the art scene, or just like being able to kind of shine a light on voices that are more favorable commercially, and like tamp down on voices that may be a bit controversial. Things happen, but um for I think I'll do it in two places. I'll do the grant writing part, and I'll do the at least the elevator pitch I've had, which was not an elevator pitch. It was a very long ass pitch, but uh, but for the
It's a bit
first
longer than
one,
elevator ride.
yeah. So with the grant writing, a lot of it. I think one of the things with working in an industry that you could call underfunded is having to look out like outside. So you have to look at grants outside of your country. Sometimes there are a couple of grant grants opportunities available in the country, but yeah, you are going against thousands of entries. I had that with archiving. I got longlisted in the end, but like my scope didn't work, and I didn't make the short list. Right, so stuff like that can happen where there's not just enough for people to have. So with me, my process usually is figuring out what grants could work for the project I have. So for example, if you're working on a film about climate change, there are kinds of grants that you can apply for that would make your project possibly a showing, like at least for consideration, right? Um, and those kind of projects usually have more social issue based grants available, and those ones are a bit more popular than you would have for somebody who just wants to make a fiction film, right? For somebody who's doing like archiving, for example, I was working last year with Nigerian film history before the 90s, and it was as a result of a workshop that I had attended. So I applied for the workshop, and then I got to pitch my film idea, and I got a small grant to start. So there's that to consider, right? Um, but like with the other grants, I think it's just my process is always just figuring out, do they fit what I want to do? Because some people apply for grants by trying to create ideas that can fit within the context of that work, which is great. But I don't work like that. I can't. It's not possible because it will feel lifeless to me. So somebody wants to make a film about. They said the film is geared towards climate change. I want to write a climate short. Can't do that for you. Yeah.
Oh,
So people do that, right? But my process has always just been. I know the kind of stories I want to tell. I want my films to be about a particular thing, or to also be a way of preserving the culture. And if those boxes aren't ticked, then there's no point of me applying to stuff, trying for stuff that I don't want to be.
to be in,
Um,
yeah.
so usually it's just, if I get a grant that works, I sit down, look at the requirements, and then I start working on whatever they are asking for. Usually they will ask you for a cover letter. They will ask you for to fill out a form. Probably they will ask you for a proposal, a project proposal, and they will ask you for a budget, right? So
Interesting.
usually you have to deal with these things. At least there are variations of this, but usually you would have at least a budget and a project proposal required, right? Some and a cover letter maybe. Some
Okay.
people know, but usually if you don't have a cover letter, when you're applying, your email should also have why they should pick you. Because the
Why
cover
is it?
letter is more
Yeah.
about, yeah, present selling yourself also. Why do I think I'm the best person to execute this project? Because one thing people don't understand when they're writing grants is that you're not only pitching why they should give you the money, it is also, oh, I have a great idea. Why am I the best person to execute the idea? Because they're also thinking about the life, what's the word? Um, the life of the project. They're thinking about, okay, we don't want to give our money to somebody with a great idea and then he doesn't just have the qualities to see it through.
Hmm.
So that's like a
The
consideration they always
qualities,
have. Yeah,
like
so
like personal qualities, like the actual
no,
person who is receiving the
no,
grant,
no, no,
or
no,
the body of work.
no, the qualities of the person receiving the grant. So
Oh,
when I mean qualities, I don't mean it in a more moralistic way. I mean
okay.
it in the kind of work you've done, in the kind of
Oh,
focus you have, right? So for example, you're pitching a climate film now. Like I said, there'll always be like hundreds to thousands of applications. But now they are more likely to favor somebody who's probably done one or two projects in that line before. It may not even have to be film. It may just be like a maybe an art exhibition or an installation or a sort of a collective that work in environmental sustainability. Already
oh,
you're like, this person kind of understands what they're working in, right? So
yeah,
that
yeah.
sets them apart. Yeah. So
Oh, I
people
see.
consider that too.
I
And then
see.
once you have that, you write your proposals. They have to be just the way that people talk about like CVs and how they have to be reworked for every new job you apply for. Your grant applications also have to be reworked. So let's assume you're shopping a project around and it fits particular boxes across grants. It's very important to also consider what the grant is looking for. So you're going to have to rework it for that grant.
So it can't be copy and pasting to all different kinds of grants.
No, no. If the work is brilliant, it could be a thing where that could work. But I've
Okay.
never heard. Yeah,
Okay.
like so. That's one thing to consider. So that's like on one side of things, right? On the pitch side, my process is just always talking about it very passionately. That's it. Part of the reason why we have on the project I'm working on currently, we spoke about it. The reason why, like, we're still currently having conversation about getting the money out, which is one thing to expect with like working just here, um, and with lawyers and everything. But that project, that particular pitch, only happened because this person was like, "Oh, you're working on this project. Tell me about it." And I said, "Oh, like, do you have a lawyer?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I have a lawyer." And oh, like, "Oh, I would like to work with you in some capacity." And we're here, so I don't necessarily have like a process in pitching, I usually just let the passion do the work, because that's another reason why I can never do like a let me create a short specifically so I can get the grant,
Okay.
because there's no passion behind it.
You know the funny thing though, right? It's like people, okay, I would suspect that people who have been in the business long enough and people who have heard 1,000 elevator pitches, and like they can smell it when you're not passionate about the work.
Yeah,
Like they can definitely tell when this is just you looking
opportunistic.
for money, and
Yeah,
and when like there's no real depth or real passion or real like
uh,
love or connection to the work that you've done. That's what I'm
yeah,
going to assume. You also mentioned that I'm aware that you've screened your work before at film festivals.
yeah,
How does the process of submitting to those film festivals go? Okay, so now you've gotten a grant to make this film. You've executed this film, this idea. How do you get around showing it to the public? Do you have to pay for these film festivals, or do you have to pitch it in a similar way to like grant application and pitching for it to investors?
mm. It's kind of different with that one. With festivals, right?
Mm-hmm.
Festivals operate in different ways, but
Mm-hmm.
most of the festivals we apply to, have applied to, I usually just submit and see. And
Come
usually
again?
that's like the structures. I said submit and see.
Oh,
So like,
submittance.
yeah, that's usually how it works. It's just it's very few of them, and that one is access. So let me give you an example. The festival like covered in 2 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
their first two editions, I think, they tried as much as possible to do. They did an open call, so you send in your film, which is normal. Festivals, you send in your film. Some festivals will ask for a submission fee, non refundable. Yeah, so a bunch of them.
Interesting.
If you're going to apply to Berlinale, Cannes, if you're going to apply to Venice, you're going to apply to Toronto in Canada, for example, there is a submission fee. That is how festivals keep their festivals running.
I
Like they
see.
have patrons, definitely, but submission fees also go a long way into like the logistics of the festival, and sometimes submission fees pay for the grand prizes at the festivals also. So the films they award, right? You get some money for that, right? But usually it's come and say, but Sorry 16 now is less of a submission festival and more of a curation. So now it's a thing of knowing the filmmakers
The
and sending
curator.
your films to them, and they're like, "Oh, we want to program this," or they go to screenings, or they see you working on the project. And they're like, "Oh, what are you working on? Let me see it when you're done," and it can be on their lineup. You understand?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
usually with festivals, it's not like strategy. Okay, where do we want the film to show? What regions? Where do we think the story will resonate? Right?
Mm-hmm.
My first film, we applied to everything. We saw opportunities. We were like, oh, we can show in Ghana. We applied, we showed in Ghana. Oh, we can show in the US. Oh, we can show in the US. That's great. We showed in Lagos, we showed in Abuja a couple of times. And then we showed in the UK. The UK was our final one. It was a virtual film festival. Our
Mm-hmm.
final one, and then we won an award, which to today,
Nice.
very, yeah, new voices.
Congratulations.
2023 December, and it was very funny how that turned out, because like we entered it for the 10-day program. I couldn't join, so I knew that like any audience award, it was not going to be fair, because you're meant to do a bit of networking. And then
Mm-hmm.
I saw, oh, you're a jury finalist, semi-finalist or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I got that you jury finalist. I was like, oh, okay, we're not gonna win now. And in January I saw, oh, you won. So I got the email announcing all the winners first. So I was
Yeah.
looking through it and I saw the canvas. I was like, was there another canvas? Because I
You're like,
couldn't
is
believe
that
it.
my film?
Is
That
that
can't
how
be
I
my
feel?
film.
Because I called my co-director George. I was like, you guy, we won. Oh." And then we now got the email from the festival saying we had won. So it was very,
Oh.
very interesting, right?
Was there money attached to it?
It wasn't money. It was a small festival. So we had, uh what did they give us? there was like a there was a meeting with the festival organizers. There was
Nice.
like some benefits for their, for their platform, access also to their network, but it wasn't like a big thing like with money. So again, we made a film with 30K. I'm fine. Honestly, I didn't. When I was making that film, it was more of me taking that big step. When I left my mother's house in August 2022, I
Hmm.
told her I'm going to Lagos. And it wasn't about making a film for festivals. It was about making a film and proving to myself that this was what I wanted to
You
do.
can do it.
And I
Mm.
can do it. So it was, the wins were great. Like the win was great. So again, with festivals, like I said, usually it's submission. So you know what your film is about. There are festivals that are sometimes geared towards that. So,
Hmm.
for example, there are documentary focused film festivals. The film I'm making right now will definitely go to a documentary film festival for a world premiere, hopefully,
Hmm.
right? For people making specific type of films, if I'm, there are festivals. Every festival has like a theme every year, but some festivals have like a pattern of selection across
Hmm.
years. So you can kind of read what kind of films go particular places. So that way you also don't waste money applying to places that will not take you.
That will
Because
not
it's not
talk. Yeah.
about good or bad. It's about, do
Yeah.
you fit my program?
Yes. Yes. Like
Yeah.
are you catering to the same audience that I'm trying to
That
attract?
I'm
That
actually beautiful.
thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Also
So
length.
yeah. Length.
Yeah, length is really important. It's really crazy because like if you're working with a short film and your film is, you have to prove that every minute of your film is worth it. Let me explain why. The first shot I ever wrote in uni was 30 pages, right? Party Animal. It was 30 pages, right? Like I've cut it down over the years. I still want to make it. But like if I made that film and I push it towards festivals, it will have a hard time showing. Why? Because it is going to be 30 minutes long. Why is it 30 minutes long? So your film has to be, because then they can decide, why should I program a 30-minute film when I can
Yeah.
program six 5-minute films,
And
or
it's
10
good.
3 minute 10 3 sorry 3 10-minute films, right? Why should I show a 30-minute film? So it's the kind of thing where if your film is very long, it has to, it literally is then held to a higher standard than other films because of the
Yeah.
program schedule, the programming
Like
blocks,
yeah, you have to blow us out of the water for us
all
to
the
spend.
water. Exactly.
Just yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Now we've spent some time talking about film, so
Yeah.
I want to focus more on your work at Mavins and your work as a writer. So how did you get? Okay, first of all, tell us what your role entails at Mavins, and tell us how you got into it and how you like it so far.
Uh, okay. I My role at Maven is content writer. So I basically work, I ideate and execute content ideas, but
Hmm.
also write scripts, various scripts across, whether it be film or content pieces for the artist, or original content, or podcast, just content in general, right?
Hmm.
Um, so that's like what my role entails. Sometimes I also take on the role of producer on. So if I'm going to be on a
Very
set,
Lagos of them, by the way. Very Lagos of them.
but yeah, so there's a project we worked on in December that I was basically like on set producing as I was participating. So there's that. So like it's a wide role of, sometimes again all of it is just geared towards like growing the business. So even if your role is content writer, whenever like you see opportunities that can grow the business, even if it is not your place, or your JD, it's something that you can put on the table and then have the appropriate department take it up from there. So it's very, very dynamic. It's very, very, it's tactile, it's fluid. But those are my core areas on the writing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, how far we
Get
did
into it.
then almost a year now. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I would say that it's been challenging, like good challenging. just working on different projects, also collaborating with a lot of international partners, pitching ideas to television networks, working also with just across now with our integration with UMG. There's like a lot more uh, global opportunities. Now we're thinking a lot about what can be done in all of these spaces with the music, with content, for the artist. So
Mm-hmm.
again, it's like a growing thing. It's expanding. It's becoming something
Mm-hmm.
really, really interesting, which is a challenging.
Mm-hmm. How did you get into it though? Like, how did you? Well, how did you hear of the
How did I get
opportunity?
hired?
Yes. How did you hear about the opportunity? How did you do in the interview? So for so
Okay.
on.
With the opportunity, it was funny because my friend Ania Khan works at Mavin. So I think at that point she was doing her NYC.
Mm-hmm.
And I also had a friend Tega working there. So what had happened was in July of last year, I was just chilling. I guess I'd left my civil service job because they were wasting my time. So I was chilling. So I was doing work for 49s, and then Anya Khan reaches out like, "Oh, Ife, my boss, like somebody at the office is looking for like a script writer, and the only one that came to mind is that something you'd be interested in." I was like, maybe, because I was trying to, I was trying to think a lot about it,
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't want to enter like anything that I felt wasn't going to be for me. So
Mm-hmm.
I said, okay, no problem. So okay, send your CV here. So I drafted out a writer's CV. uh for the listen. I put my films on there, put like the work I had done with McKinsey forward, all of my certifications,
Ninth
and like
Artistry, the
yeah,
Republic Journal.
the Republic here, beautiful. So I sent all of that to um to his email, and I think he replied. And I didn't hear anything for like 2 3 weeks, I think. And then I was at a friend's in August, early August, because I was meant to go to Abuja in the middle of August, and I get like a call. It was a Sunday, but I don't know the number. So I pick my phone up because like we're talking, we're actively talking, right? And I'm like, because I'd let it ring out, but like I just picked it on like, hey, hi, good evening. And then I come and speaking to her, I was like, so, oh, my name is Tolani and we're Maven. Wanted to find out if you'll be available for a meeting. Oh, I said Tolani for Maven, and the room goes quiet. And it's like, oh, like, yeah, I'm available. When do you want to have this meeting? So we had a virtual meeting first, and it was really good. I was honestly, I Asha was still working at Maven at that point in time
Yes.
also. So I think, oh, it was the second interview I reached out to Asha. So he didn't know about it first,
The
but
first.
apparently when Anya Kana recommended me, and Asha had seen it, Asha was like really going hard for me. So shout out
Oh,
Asha.
shout out to
It was good.
Asha.
So it was going really hard for me. Like, oh yeah, I know his work, all of that, and it's good that like my friends don't have to defend rubbish. Praise God.
Yes,
But
praise God.
my so they were like, oh okay. So I had the virtual meeting. It went pretty well. I think I was nervous. I'd never done an interview before. That's something I need to know. My first ever job interview was Maven.
Do you
I've
remember
never
any
interviewed for
any
anything for.
questions that like threw you off a little?
Oh, tell me about yourself.
Not how can tell me about yourself threw you off? You don't know
Wait,
you.
yeah, it's like you have to be concise, but then they
Yes.
also want you to feel like you've done a lot, so that they know that, and a lot that kind of ties to the job,
The
so
job,
they
yeah,
feel
is a
like,
lot.
yeah. So one of the things that I think was a bit off for me across the interview, the two of them, was the questions around like, I think in the first interview they asked me whether I had done a feature film screenplay. Like I'd done that, or I'd had anything in production that was a feature film, but I hadn't. Like I'd done development work with Bio, and I would go on to write a feature in October for my friend's uncle. but features apart from the one I had written with my friend Daniel, which we're developing together. That script is in limbo. But apart from that, we had I'd virtually just done short work, TV work, like so. I was a bit unsure about it, and they were really hammering on that. So I thought it was like a film and TV division type of thing. So I was really, really like hoping for just be at that frontier. What then goes on to happen is that interview passes, and then a week or two after, I get another call, and they're like, "Oh, they want me to come in for an interview." I was like, "Oh, okay, come in." So they give me
Another
the
one.
address. Yeah, I was like, "Okay." And then at that point in time, I'm now nervous. So I text Asha and I'm like, "Oh, you, what should I watch out for? What should?" So he told me, "Oh, just check out the work we've done before. We have a short film that is already out. No, it wasn't out yet, but like they had done a short film or two before. One for Johnny Drill. I should check it out." And I checked out like that stuff, and I was like, "Okay." I could internalize what they had as a vision initially with all of these projects, which is funny because I still had this conversation about Liza with my boss, Tega Ogenejubu, where we were talking about like film and like all of incorporating all of that into the content and storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a thing where I was not like, okay, using their work and talking about it in a more personal way,
Mm-hmm.
about what kind of stories we want to tell, or what kind of stories I would be able to tell if I was hired, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I went into that a bit more prepared, and I went into the first one, and yeah, it was good. It was questions about film, about the work I had done, about culture fit also, because I think Mavin is very, very particular about culture. So it's not only
Mm-hmm.
about whether you can do the work or not, it's about like having a work culture that is not abrasive, that has little friction, and also making sure that it's just like the right fit for the departments you're in. So these are things to also consider, to
Yeah.
make sure that you have the best workspace for everybody, not only the person coming in.
Yeah.
So that was like something, and I remember
That's
them asking me if I go for reeves. I was like, and I was like, I spent my days reading, bro. I think I remember saying they asked me what do I do for fun. And I was like, oh, I read, I watch films. And I remember my boss saying, oh, but Black Sailor Ned be this one. And
Do you
I was
go for
like, do I go for raves? I don't go for raves. I've been to the sum total of like three parties. I've tried my best. It's not my scene. But
so that is your best?
I've tried my best. But I honestly I can try. It's not necessarily like a bad thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and then after that, on my way to Abuja, there was a third interview. They asked scheduled a third interview, which was with the HR.
Mm-hmm.
And then they told me what their budget was for salary. And then that was it. I had that interview in Abuja, and I came back to Lagos. They gave me a date for resumption, sent me a hire letter, and yeah, it's just been working ever since.
That's
Working ever
lovely.
since.
That's lovely, lovely, lovely. Now,
Mm-hmm.
it sounds like it is a lot on your plate because I was going to ask about how you come by opportunities to, I guess, flex your film production muscles and practice writing, but it seems like you have a very strong handle on this is what I want and I'm going to create opportunities for myself and I'm going to actively seek out these opportunities.
Yeah.
So my question now is, how do you manage that kind of workload? Because it sounds like a lot.
Uh,
How do you make time to write, to
mm,
produce, to be on set while still finding time for fun? Because like there's a difference between okay, I'm writing and I'm reading for work, and then
yeah.
there's writing, reading, watching films just for fun for yourself, which I feel like is very integral to that personal development, especially in your line of work.
Yeah.
So how do you balance it?
Balance. What a concept. I think I had this conversation with a friend of mine, Khadija, brilliant textile artist. and we're talking. We've had the same conversation twice because she forgot the first time that we had a conversation about like how we balance stuff. Because currently in Lagos right now, had this conversation this evening with my friend Kenny about how I have 8 jobs. Like I can't. So, because outside of the work and writing, I also program. I
Mm-hmm.
also moderate. So, like at WAF now this week, a whole movie film club, I moderate at that. Right. There's also like the space I run with
WAF,
my friend.
West African Film Festival,
No,
correct?
the WAF is
Oh,
waffle and cream. It's a
oh,
store, but they
okay.
have a film club in the store. So it's a
I see.
skate it's a skate store, a skate merch store of
Okay.
sorts. But they also have, it's not only skating now. I think it started as a skate store, but now
Okay.
it's become like they also have their own signature clothing and all of that, right?
Oh, fabulous.
Um, so Home Movie Film Club is a film club that we
Within WAF.
within WAF
Okay.
that people come to free.
Okay.
Screen in
Okay.
Transit is something that I run with my friend Amanda and my friend Zainab and Tarewe in Abuja. They curate
Mm-hmm.
there. And we should also show films every month. It's going to be on next week Sunday. So there's also those kind of commitments. When you think about those two, I project coordinate for about 11 projects under the Post Memory Post Archive project at the Gotcha Institute. Been doing that for close to 6 months now because I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
the original project coordinator. The person had
Mm-hmm.
left the country for school. So I became project coordinator. Now I'm project coordinating that. So that's three.
Mm-hmm.
My project, my documentary, four, because that's a full-time job. I'm always
Yes.
reading, always researching, trying to get things together because Nigerian archives are beautiful and you need time to kind of access them. They're not great. There's Maven, there's like production work, like the work I did for my friend
Mm-hmm.
earlier this last week. There's also I'm forgetting some things now, but yeah, 49th Street, where
Mm-hmm.
I do art writing for them.
Shadow Mag.
Yeah, Shadow Mag, all of those ones are essays I pitch. So those
Okay.
ones is within that little um window that I work on the essay, that it becomes like a job. But outside of that, I don't have anything else. I'm not tied to them as like
Okay.
a staff writer or anything, right?
Okay.
So how do I manage it? Usually it's by writing things down. A lot of alarms, a lot of alarms. Uh, I'm not. I'm stressing it because it's really important not to miss. I also do content strategy for a filmmaker, Emma Edosio. Been
Mm-hmm.
working on like a new film where Nigeria happens, which is going to Locarno, a festival in Switzerland, one of the biggest film festivals in Europe, which is great.
Lovely.
First African film to open the open door section of the Locarno Film Festival. So shout out Emma and the team. So there's all of that work, right? And I'm going to work, but it's really really important that whenever I have time to do something, I try as much as possible not to move it or postpone it, which is difficult, right?
Very.
I set
I
out
can't do
time.
that.
Yeah, yeah. So like write, I write things down. I mark them out. Whenever I have meetings, I try to have them at the time that they have, because when you work in a place like Mavin, most I can say like 50% of the time, 60% of the time is meetings. So you also have to find windows around your work time to also work, right? Because the meetings
Mm-hmm.
are on alignment. You are trying to figure things, foster cross departmental, synergy. So you
Mm-hmm.
have to be very, very careful with your time. I think the biggest thing I've always tried to do now is also make people understand that I don't have a lot of time, right? So if we are going to do work, right, and you're not friends and family, please be on time, right? Be on time.
Mm-hmm.
So we can literally put our best foot forward. I would say that that's like the biggest thing. One of the biggest things I've had to adjust in my life over the last year now has just been managing my time as much as possible.
Yeah.
Also having time to while also having time to do things that I want to do. Um like for example, today I knew I was going for that exhibition and I was going to have this, but I also tried as much as possible to watch Batman Beyond.
Yes, I haven't seen that yet.
It's like
I haven't seen
you
that.
don't say it's a lie. Batman Beyond is the cartoon we watched growing up.
I
Um,
haven't seen it.
about Batman of the future.
I haven't seen it.
Where Bruce Wayne is old and he has
Uh-huh.
like a younger like. You didn't see that? It was on
Did you?
STV.
I
I
didn't.
literally did you watch STV?
I didn't watch STV.
Oh,
I
okay,
don't
okay, okay, fair
remember
enough.
STV. Yeah, no, I
Okay,
didn't.
all right.
Well, as we come to the close of
Mm-hmm.
this lovely interview session, I have two
Yeah.
more questions for you. First is a rather serious one. Scorsese
Mhm.
or Spielberg?
One of them is a Zionist, so I'll go with Scorsese. I beg.
Okay, perfect. That works entirely well for me because I did not know that he was. So thank you for telling me.
Yeah, yeah,
No
he
more,
is.
no more of his films for me. Thank you. My
Yeah.
last and final question is: if you could do it all over again, if you could start from scratch, if you could start from realizing, oh, I want to write, or oh, I want
Yeah.
to make film,
Yeah.
how would you do it? And it's a pretty loaded question. How would you do it? What in the industry do you think would make it easier for you? Like, what in the industry can change or should change? That's to make sorry, that's to make this easier for you. And
Yeah.
what advice do you have for somebody that's that's just starting out, whether they're in the same situation as you, or they've been in a career they don't like so far and they know that it's film that they want to do?
Hmm. Um. If there's anything I would change, honestly, I don't think there's anything I would change because, like, the way film happened for me, if I never went to Korean University, it won't have happened. So, in some
Mm.
way, doing that engineering kind of shaped me, even though it was not what I wanted to do. Um, I think one of the things that I would have preferred to probably know was like know it earlier and afford myself, maybe a more traditional film education. Being an autodidact has been a very interesting journey because you learn on your own, you read on your own, you write, you take it out. People kind of try to sharpen your rough edges, and it's been like a really, really interesting journey. And I think it gives me kind of an edge because of the kind of angles I can come from,
Okay.
as opposed to somebody whose entire um, s- educational background is in film, right? Um, I think I like that it is something that I had to kind of hone for a long time. Um, if there's anything I would change, maybe I'll come back as a nepo baby. Um, because looking for funding is just insane, man. It's insane. I think that's one thing that I have been trying. Especially with this year, we're working on this particular project. You know.
I know.
It's been interesting just trying to kind of piece everything together. So like definitely one thing that I think the industry could definitely use more of is indie funding, not industry funding. And I think this is really important because Nollywood
Independent
funding.
film funding.
In Nollywood come with it. They come with their funding. They do their corruption. They
Of
use
course.
10% of 100% to shoot Netflix series.
Of
I'm
course.
looking at you, that man with the film village. Let me not say his name, but uh, before they cast me, I'm still trying to
Because
interview
I'm
him.
looking
Man.
at him too. I'm very much looking at him too. Let me
Yeah,
just press
but
stop record so I can tell you. Go on.
I think that's like one thing that I think structures. I think most I think indie community theaters is something that could be um good for Nigerian filmmakers. My problem is kind of situating it within the already fractured distribution channels we have. But I think
Mm,
we start from somewhere, right?
yeah.
Having the opportunity for indie filmmakers to show their films in theaters and have people come there without worrying about like financial viability, at least for the first few years, is
Mm-hmm.
something that could open up worlds of creativity, and can push like the envelope of Nigerian cinema forward in ways that
So,
people may not be able to. A lot of the films that are trying to do that right now. Our first film went to Cannes this year, right? It was made with BFI funding, right? It made with British funding. It has backers internationally, and the filmmaker, even though it comes with a lot, he's not situated here, right? Is Akinola Davis Jr. His elder brother is Wale Davis Tech of
mm-hmm,
SDC. They co-wrote the film.
mm-hmm.
Um, and he also won at Sundance, also a film
Oh,
co-written.
lovely.
Yeah, 2021. They won for short film. They were the first Nigerian film to win this, and it's really really interesting that because they identify as the Nigerian film, as the
Yeah,
Nigerian film. So, um, yeah, it's the kind of thing where those structures need to kind of exist. And kudos to a few of the spaces already doing that. You have already independent filmmakers who have kind of cracked into that global space with their films that they've produced and directed. People like Damian Mogunje, people like the Sorry 16 Collective, making opportunities for other filmmakers. Right now, if you show at S16,
thing. Go on.
you have an opportunity to also show at the film festivals they partnered with. A good example is people like Dick Alfoma, whose films have also been able to show. He's also going to showed in December last year. He's going to show at Mostras de Africanos de Cinema, Mostras de Cinemas Africanos, Africanos Cinemas. Forget how to pronounce it. It's a
Okay.
Brazilian film festival. The Brazilian film festival, and they are
Mm-hmm.
partners with S16 now. Locano too are partners with S16, which is crazy. Like they are
Crazy.
also trying to put in together, put those channels that they had to fight for to secure. They're trying to kind of open it up for other younger filmmakers to exploit also. So you get those windows opened by these people before you. So it's shout out to them for the work they're already doing. All those people, and all of the structures that are being laid down for others to follow. Um, but I think that definitely there's something that we need to do for home, right? Because like when those guys make films and they bring it home, it's not always treated the best way. Because again, those channels don't exist for indie in the ways
Mm-hmm.
that they should. So I think that's one thing I would like to change about the industry. Just have a lot more distribution figured out across both industries. Because like when you have one figured out, the other will follow, hopefully.
Yeah.
And if there's any advice, I don't think I'm in the best place to advise anybody. Sorry, let me adjust. Uh, because like I've been doing this for a few years. But like I can definitely say stuff about like the mistakes that I think we've made and like what I could say that so that people don't have to make those mistakes. I think one thing you should always try to do from the jump is focus on the work. One thing I've noticed over the last few months, maybe a year or two now, is that it's very easy, even at a very uh, no, I'm not necessarily like a very big filmmaker. I'm not like I have very small communities in Lagos who are familiar with me and the work I do, but it's not like you get what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
but even at that level, it's very easy for people to get distracted and like the glamour of having people tell you you're a genius or you're great or they love your work, and then people get caught up in that and then they don't think about the work anymore. Like because the point of it was that you are doing the work. There's something my
Yeah.
friend Ugo says, right? Who is a very brilliant filmmaker also, right? He's really outside. He's outside here and there, but he's really outside. But he does really, really good work. And the conversations we had last year and even into this year recently was around just doing the work. A film he produced is going to Venice now,
Ooh.
and it's because he's actively trying to put together systems that can support the work he wants to do, right? And even though it may feel a bit like a silo, it's not necessarily that. It's just like trying to grow that community in a more sustainable way. Coming back
Mm-hmm.
to it, hone your craft, because the even while you're trying to open up these opportunities, what speaks in the end is the work. You can get your
Absolutely.
foot through the door, right? As you can see with Nollywood filmmakers working in streaming, they have their foot in the door, but they were making rubbish, and the streamers decided. And it's even funny because streamers make slop. It's really
They
crazy when you
do
think
all the
about it.
time.
They make slop. So imagine a
Time.
slop maker telling you that your work is slop.
Too
That
sloppy.
should tell you that there's a problem. So it's the kind of thing where even when we have our foot in the door, some people don't even care that much about quality control or trying to push forward the envelope of commercial cinema. Right? Tell
Mm,
more interesting stories, tighter stories. I'm not saying every story has to be art house, but let's be real. It has to be of a certain quality. And it's not
absolutely.
even about comparing it to Western standards. Like you look at work and you're just like, you could have done better, right?
That's something
So
that I really respect Bjorn Stevens for. Regardless of what platform she's putting her work on, at
yeah,
the very core of it, there is
yeah.
something to learn. There is some quality in there. So
I've been thinking. So I think that's like one thing I would say now, because one of the I think the easiest way to kind of skill in this industry is do quality work. It's so easy. If you're dependable and you do quality work, it could take you. I'm not joking. It could take you 6 to 12 months to be, and people will just be like, "How is this happening?" Because people are making rubbish. It's the kind of thing where some people do quality work but they're not dependable. Some people are dependable but they don't have the eye for it, right? And it's not the kind of thing where you come into an industry and you are like, I'm going to hold my craft. I'm going to keep working at it. I'm going to learn all I can and I'm going to apply it in the work I do. And I'm going to make sure that it's well thought out, it's well executed. That like I am also telling a story with the visuals I'm creating. It to stand out. It will stand out, honestly. And it's just something to remember when you're considering funding as a filmmaker. Don't make the mistake of trying to say, "Oh, let me wait, let me gather money and buy my first camera." Let me do that. You can work with your community, but one thing you should always do: always try to widen your horizon. Read, not only film books. Read widely. Read literature. Read poetry. Read how things work. I think that's really, really important. So learn how film works. Yes, like processes in film and in film business, but learn how things work. Like, oh, how does pollination work? A lot of people don't remember that. Cross
okay,
pollination, all of that. Like,
yeah,
learn how things work. It makes your work. It's very funny. It makes your work really, really interesting. Because work, when you learn how things work, some of those systems can be applied to how you build your world. There's more depth, more reality, right? There is
yeah,
also it also makes for very interesting analogies when you're thinking about symbolism, right? You're
yeah.
reading deeply and you're able to, draw from places that people are like, oh, for example, uh, Hourglass at the exhibition I went for this week, right? Was based on a musical instrument, the organe. Like the hourglass design.
Like the Igbo
The,
instruments, the ogene.
yes, yes. So that the organe has it like a funnel, right?
Yeah,
So you just imagine it straightened out, and yeah, it was insane. So like that was what they based their design on,
that's
and
crazy.
that comes from a place of just doing research and doing work, and it still kind of comes into play when we consider like the installation, because it has like a sound aspect also below the hourglass, so it kind of just still comes together, even if that's not
It's-
intentional. Yeah, it's still very cohesive. So one thing I think a lot about is learning how things work. Read widely. Don't say because I'm working in film I only read film. What then happens is that your work becomes somewhat academic and rigid. And
mm,
the work should not necessarily be academic. The film academics already have that responsibility towards your work. So try as much as possible. And I'm not saying that film academics cannot be dynamic. Oh, they can. I've read a lot of them that are. I'm just saying
mhm.
that having those perspectives only as the basis for making your film, it would be a recipe for failure, or at least for stagnation. So read widely, hone your craft, learn everything about it. Learn something Emma Edosio said to me last year. She said, if you learn your department, it's really important, especially if you're working as an indie filmmaker. Because a lot of people who are working here don't know their craft well enough. I witnessed it on set where the sound recordist on her set did not know a setting that she needed for her work. And she's like, it's your industry. How am I the one telling you what that is?
What it
Right?
is. Mm.
And this is at the highest level of independent filmmaking, where you like the budget isn't like the budget you see in commercial, but like you're still working with some substantial amount of money, and
Mm-hmm.
you're being paid a lot. So it's like this type of thing where you just don't want to also be caught, you know, like a deer in headlights.
Yeah.
I made a mistake. This one I couldn't necessarily change it because like I was in a new city, but maybe if I could have looked at the lens more closely, I'd have known. I was
Mm-hmm.
shooting something in Jos, and I had hired out a crew there because I couldn't fly um
A crew from
my people
Lagos to
from
just.
Lagos. So we had done equipment, and we're like, okay, this equipment we need to get and all of that. So we're there. And then I'm not able to check the equipment because the shoot is the day after I land, so I can't even do
Mm-hmm.
an equipment check.
Mm-hmm.
So I go straight to the set, and I look at the screen, like the small monitor for the camera. I'm like, this
Mm-hmm.
looks really stretched, but I think it's the resolution.
I was just about to say resolution.
It is not.
What was it?
My DOP decided it was a bright idea to film a documentary interview with anamorphic lenses.
I don't know what that is. What's anamorphic
So
lenses?
westerns have this really. If you watch a lot of westerns, the aspect ratio is like really wide, and because
Oh,
they want to show like the
like
landscapes and
cowboy
everything.
deserts to like show the
Yeah, so
background
you have
and
like the
everything.
landscapes and all of that, right? So anamorphic lenses are they usually shoot westerns on them, right? And what anamorphic lenses also do is that they kind of stretch. So they stretch your footage, yes, but they also kind of make it curved at the edges.
So
If you
like
get me,
panoramic kind of.
in some way. So it's like it was just stretched, right? And I looked at the footage. I looked at the camera and I was like, maybe it's just it's just the resolution. So I didn't bother myself. We shot the interview, we did our B-roll, and then the footage came out, and it was stretched. And I was just there thinking about the money, because I was like, why would you shoot a documentary?
What would you do now?
Like,
Well,
so you have to know. You have to
Ife,
know.
it's been so good having you on the podcast. Thank you again for coming on here. It's been a pleasure hearing your stories, hearing your advice, the ups and the downs, and myself and the rest of us at the occasional, which is really just me. Thank you, and we hope to see you again when both of us are bigger,
Yeah.
larger. So
Yes.
please listen to the podcast. If you're still
Of
listening,
course. Yeah.
follow on Instagram, on TikTok. Follow Ife as well. You can find him at
Okay, sorry, I didn't know that was a cue.
Instagram. Oh, sorry.
You can
Go
find
on.
me at you can find me at Ife Olutayo on
Mm-hmm.
IG. It's just no underscore or anything, just Ife
Mm-hmm.
Olutayo. Very lucky to have caught that in 2017.
Actually, because like there's at least 500 Ife tires.
You get, because I couldn't find Ife Olaoye. That's how like Olaoye
How will
just
you find Ife
came
Laoye
into
that's
the
a
station.
whole
That's why I don't
please.
go by Olaoye. It's because I couldn't find it. So if you're Olutayo on IG, and I think on Twitter it's at Hey Ifeoluwa.
Ife Laoye.
Um uh
Ife
I'm not
talks
gonna
about
give you my
art
LinkedIn.
on IG as well.
Yeah, you can also find that's like my film diary page. I talk about
Mm-hmm.
a bunch of stuff on there. I'm not going to give you my LinkedIn because no, but I think that those are good. Those are good. IG and Twitter. That's at least where I know I'm active,
Very well. Okay.
right? And
Bye, guys. Okay. And his email. Go on.
my email is ifeoluwaolutayo@gmail.com. So it's just my name too, but
Okay.
ifeoluwaolutayo.com. If you have any pitches, any questions, always happy to talk to people.
reach out to him, please. Thank you. I'm going to stop recording. You stay.
Okay.